So today's nail, we're gonna do kind of an icy, wintry, kind of a themed nail. So let's get started, and I've already sculpted out our extension in clear. So just a nice thin extension in that speed clear. And then I'm gonna use a little bit more of that speed clear right over that natural nail. So in order to do a dimensional nail, or anytime I use maybe any color or anything on that natural nail, I always pick up a small little pearl and just apply that to the natural nail, and this way it kind of gives that a little bit of a barrier. So anytime I do put glitter or those colored acrylics or any kind of color onto that natural nail, when I go to file or remove that color and change out the design, I only file down to that little bit of clear that's underneath. This way I'm not going to damage that natural nail when I do my change outs. So next thing we're going to do, I'm going to just kind of set that nail off to the side. Let's mix a little bit of glitter today. And actually we're going to be using some of kind of the chunkier mylar. And I'm going to be working with our speed clear, and other side is the glitter that we're using today. So I'm going to mix just a little bit of my speed clear, maybe a few scoops, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, just kind of depending on how many nails you're going to be doing. And then just maybe a scoop, or maybe even a half a scoop of that mylar. Now, a lot of times I just kind of place the mylar onto the nail. Usually I don't mix it into my acrylic, but today I just kind of wanted to change things up a little bit, have a little bit of a different look, and maybe a little bit more of the mylar. Kind of give it a little bit more sparkle, a little bit more shine. So that's the reason that I'm actually mixing it into my acrylic today. Just want a little bit of a chunkier look. So the colors I also am going to be using are my speed white. I'm going to still keep my speed clear. And then one of our new colors is aquamarine spark. And you guys, I love this color. It is a beautiful kind of an icy blue. So I thought this was going to be a great color to use on our icy nail today. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of create a little bit of a white and clear blend around the cuticle area and a white and clear blend through that extension, but then we're going to use some of that teal kind of color in the middle. So let's start with our white and clear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a good amount of that clear and then just lightly touch that into my white powder. I don't want the white to overpower this, so that's why I just kind of pick up a little bit of that white, and I'm just going to kind of swirl that onto my nail. There's no real precision with this application, you guys. Just kind of work that product into that nail, get that product to kind of swirl around, move around, and then you can kind of just press out the edge of it to just blend out that edge. So just starting at that free edge, kind of working back, and you'll see with that white and the clear, you get kind of that icy kind of a look. So just kind of blending that. I'm not going to work with it too much. If I work with it too much, I feel like sometimes the colors mix together a little bit more than what I want. So by just kind of applying it, swirl it around, you're going to get a little bit more of that separation rather than really blending those colors together. So we're going to do that same thing up by our cuticle area. I'm going to pick up some of that clear and just a little bit of that white, and I kind of roll it off my brush and just kind of swirl that together a little bit, moving that around. But just make sure that you do get that nice and tight to that cuticle area. So press right up around your cuticle, and then you can kind of just, again, blend that out a little bit, or just leave it kind of in its own little swirl, however you want that nail to look. So again, we've kind of worked a little bit up around that cuticle and then a little down that free edge. I am actually going to add just a tiny little bit more of that white. I just want to bring in a little bit more color right in through that center and just kind of swirl it through. So you guys, you can always add a little bit more color if you want to, just to create whatever look you're going for. So again, I've got product up by my cuticle, product down by my free edge, and now I'm going to work through that center area. So we're going to do kind of the same thing and double dip with our aquamarine spark and then our glitter mixture here. So we're going to pick up a little bit of that mylar mixture and a little bit of that aquamarine color, and again kind of rolling that off the brush, and again just kind of pressing, swirling that together, kind of picking up some of those mylars and kind of bringing them up to the surface of that nail. And then I'm just going to blend that up into that white and clear mixture, and then I'll kind of blend that down into our free edge mixture here. Now if you feel like you want a little bit more of that Mylar, you can grab a little bit more. If you feel like you need a little bit more of that blue, grab a little more of the blue. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the Mylar mixture just to give us a little bit more of that kind of glow into that nail. And if you need to, again, you can kind of blend up a little or down, just adjusting how you want your nail to look. If you feel like you want a little bit more of that glow up into your white areas, go ahead and add a little bit up in there. Or maybe do just a tiny little bit more right down into that free edge. Just a little bit more. So now we kind of have that transition from our clear and white swirl up at the top into that blue swirl into the middle, and then down into that clear and white swirl down into our free edge. So at this point, we don't have a whole lot of structure to our nail, so we need to cap the whole nail in our clear. And this way it's going to seal all of that Mylar in, and it's going to also help to create the structure of our nail. So we're going to pick up a good sized pearl of our speed clear. I'm going to angle my finger downward. I'm going to press that pearl of clear right at my cuticle, press out that cuticle area. And as that nail is angled downward, my product is going to start to flow down the length of the nail, and rather than down into our sidewalls. Once it stops, I'm going to just lift up and kind of feather out that edge, making sure it just kind of blends out. And then we'll pick up our second pearl. This one I am going to just drain a little bit of that liquid out and turn my brush around. By draining out that liquid, it keeps it a little bit less in that liquid form. It still is going to flow just a little bit, but I have a little bit more control of it, so it's not going to run as quickly. And I can use my brush a little bit more to kind of press out that product and move it to where I want. So a couple of different, consistencies when you're working with your acrylic. If you want it to flow a little bit more, leave all that liquid in there. If you want it to not flow quite as much, take out a little bit of that liquid onto your table towel. And I think we're good with our clear on here. I'm going to let this nail set up, we'll file it out, and I'll show you the final look.